Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. Welcome back to the Tally Snippet and iSelf Academy YouTube channel. And today we are going to see the last leg of our module 4, where we're going to talk about highlighting or action highlights in Tableau. In our previous video, we saw how to use action filter, and we even saw a filter there. I didn't differentiate both of them earlier, but now I'm doing it. Wherever I use a dashboard actions to create a filter, I call that as action filter. And wherever I use a filter directly, if I dragging and dropping and adding a filter to it, I call it as a filter for a single sheet or all data source dynamical filter can also be done here. So we can even call this as page filter or a report filter in other BA languages. In today's video, we're going to see how to work with highlighting a data set. But again, to highlight a data set, highlight is not going to work that easily. Again, there is a difference between an action filter and an action highlighters. Before I do it, I want to just remove whatever the actions that I already have, or action filters that I have. I'm going to remove all of them. I have select action filter and hover over action filters. I'm going to remove all of them here, and then I'm going to do that. And once I remove it, when I change the data set, nothing happens in this list. So my filter taken into effect right now. So now I want to add an action filter, but when I do add an action filter, my action filter will not work for me effectively. Now, before I start elaborating more about these action filters, I would like to give you an idea or a head start about what I have done right now. So I am having the data set either by the country level and state and city level here. So I'm going to keep the data set in the state level in the map section, and then when I come back to the dashboard, I'm going to add an action highlighter here. So actions, as usual, I'm going to go for the add action and I'll say highlight. And you can see it is similar to whatever we have done in our previous filter actions here. And I don't have two options that comes in place as I see in a filter. I'm going to uncheck the scatter plot out of the equation here. I'm going to got the action here, and you got the information this very nicely when I give an OK. And when I give an OK, that should show me the highlighter here. When I click the highlighter here, nothing happens in my data set. The reason why is my data set's granularity level is little different than what we normally do. That is the only reason highlight won't work like a filter works in our list. So what do I mean by this? So if I go back to a data set and if I go back to the data sources here, you can see the data sources comes in a different dimension altogether. And if I can able to sort and filter the data set here, that'll make our life a little more easier. I'm going to just come down here. Okay, right. Sorting this data is not going to really work here. So let me just open our data set in Excel, so that way we can use the data set better. So I'm coming back to our Excel sheet here, and then I'm in the list of orders. I'm going to just add a filter here. And then I'm going to just select the customer name and then sort them by alphabetical order. And when I do that, you can see that one of my customer is not ordering the data, or the orders are not placed from one origin of country. You can see that I have Aaron here. Aaron comes with a multiple orders to me, but the order country is different. That's the only reason why when I add a highlighter here, the highlighter never gave me the distinct component of a customer. So when I click one of the customer name should show me the data set here, but it didn't show me that list here. So because he is not ordering the data from one origin of a country, he orders it from all over Europe right now. Rather, you can see Italy is coming in and he orders something from UK, from Germany, from France, and so on and so forth. And he even did one order from Netherlands. So this happens for each and every one of them. So when I highlight the data set, the highlight data set will not work for me. I need to improvise my data set a little bit better here. That's where I'm going to go back to my customers plot, and then I'm going to make this particular data set more granular here. So because in our current data set, I have only a profit margins calculation by sum and profit, and then I have added the filter for us, and we have an aggregate profit margin field in a list. Now I want to add the state to the detail mode so that gives you the data set even more better. So I'm going to drag and drop the state in the detail mode. Then you can see a lot of data that comes in place here. And when I go back to my data set, now I am in a state level. But when I still click this point, you can see that there is a small change that's happening here. You can see each and every state. Norway, what the changes are happening in the highlights here when I do add this here. If you want to make this hover over highlighter, you can do that. I'm going to add one more action to our list. Again, I'm adding another highlight here. This time I'm going to name them as hover highlight. I'm sorry, I'm a very bad speller, so I'm going to just remove the customer out of the equation. I'm going to this is hover, and then I'm going to give an OK and an OK here. Now, when I place the cursor here, you can see that the hover over will allow me to do it, and then the hover over also changes the entire data set. So when I take the highlight, you can see the difference between the filter. When I click the filter was showing a different dimension altogether. But again, when I go for hover, it points out the data set nicely, and then you can see the variances that I deal with it. And then it happens not just on the left hand side, but also on the right side of a data set. And as I move it, I can see the data set here, and I have both the data coming up here. So the hover and as well as the selection here. So let me just come back here. I'll remove the selection out of the equation. So then I can see the data set very nicely here. So the hover over will allow me to get the data set better for me in our list here. This is how we can use highlight in our list. With this, we are coming to an end on our module 4, where we talked about joins and point, and I'm going to talk about blending in our next video. We already talked about joins a little bit on this part, and I even explained you a little bit better in that point, and then I showed you how to create a map, how to create hierarchy. If it is already built, we can use it. If not, we can create one. I showed you how to create a map and a scatter plot and a single dashboard, and then I showed you how to create a multiple filter, and then I use a filter option or action filter, and action highlighting is also done in this list. This is Vinod signing in from Tableau Snippet and iSelf Academy YouTube channel. This is video number 9 for us in our module 4 on Tableau learning. We are learning the basics of Tableau here. Hope you guys learned something new. Happy analyzing.